All right, greetings everybody. We are in Hague, Netherlands at the Honeywell User Group, and I'm here with Claudia of Honeywell and Chris Hub of Adlib. Welcome everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Now, we're talking about AI in manufacturing, particularly in plants. And Claudia, when you look at the plant today, what's the one decision that still needs to be automated? Whole day we heard in the sessions is autonomous plant decisions. What's the one decision that still needs to be automated for a plant?
Only one.
Pick one.
Well, I think one of the things that was mentioned today is advanced process control is almost that's the most autonomous plant operations really together with the DCS, right? It is able to continuously adapt the set points, but it is only able to adapt within specific constraints if you're using first principles approach only. Now, by combining with AI ML and doing a hybrid AI ML and first principles based approach, then you can potentially widen the operating envelope so that it can adapt more flexibly and more accurately based on these changes in the plant conditions, not just in the steady state, but also based on bigger changes in the plant. So that's a key area that is like at your fingertips really to be more adaptable and automated.
But I think you made a great point. Like, there's many. How you started. Like, there's many places.
There are many. Yes, there are many. I mean, ultimately, what AI ML can provide to the different personas in a plant is it essentially gives all the information that they need at their fingertips. So it would arm them with information, with insights, also providing things like root cause analysis, recommending potential corrections to issues. So all of that would enable them to be more automated, and also things like automatically summarizing. I think you mentioned also people don't like to write, summaries, logs, etc. But with Gen AI, that's easily done. Right, summarization and auto creation of logs and shift summaries. Yeah.
One of the things that I do see here, so staying on this point for a second, is I think there is an area within the plant around just simple go no go decisions. Say at changeover, turnover of a line, where typically you'll have a lot of the structured data around sensory type outputs, so numbers that are just generated based on AI ML software within hardware, and it's there for the oncoming. But then you also have typically from the last crew, you'll have notes. And so they do record manual notes. And I think that's where you can sometimes lose a lot of time on making a go, no-go decision, like should we continue with the line or not, is because the new incoming needs to read through all this, couple it with the machine readable stuff, and then make a decision. If you could have everything here that they were scribbling, during their 8-hour shift, if that could be automated, and it absolutely can be, then I think you could accelerate your go, no-go decisions. A key piece, and this is where we work very well with Honeywell, is being able to basically standardize what is already structured with this unstructured stuff. Again, all of the notes and everything, if that can be done on an iPad or something like that, and automatically translated into machine readable ones and zeros, then we can start to standardize the formats and therefore get to a go no go decision much sooner.
Thank you. So you've taken my second question, which was how do you close the data?
So I am a mind reader.
Yeah, and it's really automating both the collection of data from structured systems, which also needs to be automated, and then marrying it with the unstructured data, the scribbling that he mentioned, which is manual handwriting. A lot is still manual handwriting. Now transforming that to digitize by just them, even whether it's writing or just saying now, right, in natural language. they can do that.
And that's my next question is like machine data is live and structured. So human data, like the notes you've referenced, whether inspection reports isn't. What's stopping manufacturing from truly connecting these two worlds, the human and the machine data?
Well, I can tell you it's not AI. I think AI is actually the bridge. I think what is stopping it is just, it's change management 101. I think it's just totally rethinking how we get work done as opposed to just throwing a solution at it. A lot of the times we just want to buy a solution and just plug it in and, magic's going to happen. And what it comes down to is really like the top down meeting the bottom up. Bottom up, like people want to be as efficient as possible, right? They want to get home, they've got families, and so they don't want to be doing this tedious manual work. But I think the top down is we do need to rethink the whole line and how we plug in this new solution. So I would say it's not the AI, like the technology is there, it's ready to be implemented. It typically comes down to like the organization, change management, the appetite for.
Yeah, and I think it's also enabling the people to adopt the technology is a big part of it, because they're so used to, the processes that they are used to, and adopting something different requires enablement and change, and they need to be comfortable with it.
And that's not an easy thing to do because most of the organizations are more of a pyramidal type of leadership. So empowering the people, how do you transition to that empowerment?
Yeah, I don't think we want, there's no expectation as the AI software vendor working with Honeywell, there is no expectation that frontline workers become data scientists. I think what all of us do want them to be, and most of them are, especially a lot of engineers with Honeywell, is that they are data fluent. So they know how to read outputs. They absolutely can translate. And so I think there is a lot of, we're not expecting data scientists, but we do want to be data fluent. We do want to rely on reliable, standardized outputs and not ad hoc decision making.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say actually with AI ML, it should be, it's reducing, hopefully it's reducing the need for data crunching and all of that, right? It's actually bringing the insights readily to the practitioners, the various personas in a plant versus having somebody analyzing it for them. So,
So manufacturers track their machines carefully, but often ignore how information moves through the plant. What's the first sign that both of you perhaps that their data flow is breaking?
The first thing we typically see, and again in software, it's easy to sort of see the core metrics or the key performance indicators, as they like to say, is exceptions go way up. If something is broken, then exception handling will go up. Things just aren't getting done. They're falling out of the line. And so we'll see exceptions go up. The second one is probably, there's always queries of the line. And the queries will just take longer. So you'll ask for, torque deviation and based on a certain log, and that just isn't readily available. And that typically is because there's a lot of manual work getting done, and they do need to go back and crunch numbers. Whereas, again, if it were automated, that should be at their fingertips.
You probably see stale data, stale analysis, right? If you have KPI dashboards, in which a lot of organizations do, you'll see strange numbers, things that, why are things this way versus what you would expect them to be? Then you start chasing down, hey, why is the data this way, right? Then you'll see what could have been broken bridges in those data collections.
Claudia, which plant role will look differently by, say, 3 years from now, 2028?
I would think that every plant role should be different. Starting from the control room operators, reliability engineers, they should all, shift operators, all of those, they should become a lot more productive in the next 5 to 10 years based on all of the automation that will be delivering to them.
Chris, what new skills will workers need to stay relevant, in your opinion?
What new skills? I think it's, and you've got some consultancies that are out there coining terms for this, like cobot. So collaboratively working with, so human and machine working seamlessly together.
Mhm.
And it should be, from our perspective anyways, like our AI software, which is oftentimes in a plant within hardware, but that should be working collaboratively with the human. It should be empowering the human. And I think if you take that perspective, then the skill set is simply the openness to learn. Because as you were mentioning, Claudia, like there is going to be changes over the next 3 years. Like we typically, and this is a saying that is often in the innovation and tech community, but we overestimate the impact in the short term and underestimate it in the long term. And so I think that's what's going on with AI right now. People are screaming, bubble this, bubble that.
Mm-hmm.
And so there absolutely will be some air that will need to be let out of some companies. But just like the internet, and the .com in 2001, like the internet, we built a multi-trillion-dollar economy on top of the internet. We will do the exact same thing with
Yes,
AI.
exactly.
And so in 3 years, you're absolutely right. Everything from the top down in these plants are going to look different. And so I would say, getting back to your original question, is that the collaboration with AI, especially in plants where you do have, I guess, maybe there may be optimists in some of the plants.
Yeah, I think it's really how can these different personas leverage AI ML the most effectively to increase productivity, to get the maximum efficiency. That's ultimately the skill that you will need, is how do you leverage AI ML to the best possible.
And I want to double click on that a little bit. So most digital transformation fails at adoption. What's a non-obvious way to get these frontline workers to actually trust and use the new tools?
So let me start with kind of the foundational. I think is firstly involving them in the loop so that they become part of what changes in their processes need to be done and their workflows need to be done. They need to be part of that so that they can, solution with you. But the other part of it is, ultimately in terms of you need to get, I mentioned enablement and adoption. I think people, it's a lot of, if your colleagues are becoming more productive, becoming more efficient because of using AI, you'll feel left out, right? There is a FOMO that will happen, and part of it is also like if you gamify the whole thing, and you based on how you're using AI, you're getting better scores, better whatever, then you'll get the entire community to adopt. It's kind of becomes a viral thing because your colleagues are using it in a more effective way.
And to that point, I don't think AI is going to replace an employee. I think a fellow employee using AI will replace that employee that isn't using AI. And so it's absolutely critical that they do sort of relearn these skill sets. Now, what I would also say is that I think within every one of our jobs, regardless of where it is in the plant, there's a spectrum that people play on between transactional and knowledge-based within their 8-hour shift. And they typically don't want to do the transactional work that's lower value. And so where the AI and ML can set in is like move that person further to the right and knowledgeable. So let the AI take as much of the base automation stuff, but then now, especially with some of the software that we're helping Honeywell with, like we can understand the data within these very, very complex documents. And so contextually, we can understand all of that very quickly and empower the person with scenario planning, confidence scores. We can start to policy tag data so that way it's 100% credentialed. And that accuracy, I think, again, pushes that employee further to the right. And that's what I think will allow them to, one, feel purpose in their current job, but also hopefully give them upward mobility as they move forward in their career.
Thank you both for the insights. And if you're in the audience and have questions for Claudia or Chris, feel free to leverage the hashtag you see on the screen.